J-Drone here. This is a Tarantula X6 and we're going to take this out for a wind flight, and we're going to also test the flipping capabilities of it. Go ahead and turn it on, and you're going to toggle up and down and lightly toggle up. Let it sit for a couple seconds, let that gyro stabilize, that way you have a stable flight. And again, we got a 10-mile-an-hour wind here. We're going to adjust the speed setting. My left thumb is over the button above the up and down. And I don't know if you can see on that LCD screen the percentage changing. There's 3 different rates on this. I'm going to put in a medium rate here and see how it does. I do not have a camera on this. I do have a camera that fits for this. I did not buy it with the camera just because I've seen reviews on the camera and it's one of the worst cameras that I've ever seen with jello. So I decided to opt out of not getting it, and I have a stock camera off another quadcopter that plugs into this, but I think this quadcopter gives off a lot of vibration, and that's why you get a lot of jello on it, because even that stock one that I have off of another one generally doesn't get jello, but on this, lots of jello. So we're just doing a general wind flight review here, and I will show you flips towards the end. Show you how this thing does with a little acrobatics. As you can see, I'm kind of hovering in front of me. The wind's not taking it too much. And now we are flying backwards essentially with the front pointed towards me, so my controls are backwards. This quadcopter is considerably larger than most of your toy grade quadcopters. If you're a beginner, I don't know that I would say, and we're stuck in a tree here. If you're a beginner, I'd say if you're going to go for something like this, make sure you're not around trees. Make sure you're not around houses, that you're in an open field. And I'm going to climb this, which kind of sucks because this entire tree is covered in thorns, as you can see there. So I have no issues climbing trees. I like climbing trees, but this tree, I have to really watch my hand placement because there's thorns all over it. And we'll get it. Just again, I'm not getting up as quickly as I'd like to because I don't want to stab my hand with one of those thorns. This isn't extremely high up. If you've been watching my channel for a while, you're a subscriber, you've seen me climb very high trees. If you haven't been watching a while, you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. And if you want to see me climb an extremely tall tree, I believe there's 2 videos on my channel that I've climbed way too high. Almost to the point where halfway up I thought, yeah, I probably shouldn't be climbing this, but I did it anyway. And again, I threw that down. I know this is a pretty durable quadcopter. The only thing that popped off was the battery compartment door, and that'll just pop right back on, no issues, and then we'll be back in flight. Just make sure it's on there snug. And is she broke? Will she fly? Of course. Again, I wouldn't have threw it down if I had any questionability on its durability. The range on this, I've taken it for an altitude test. I got to 2/3 the range. I believe it's rated for 300 meters, which is 300 meters. You're looking at close to 1,000 feet, if not more. It's about 100 meters is 300 feet and change. And we'll see if we can get to that max altitude with my altitude meter at some point. Definitely got to have no wind. Clouds have to kind of be like they are right now, where they're extremely high. Last time I did it, the clouds were pretty low. I'm very impressed by this. I have a lot of mid-range size quadcopters. Then I have the Tarantula 1505. This is the Tarantula X6. I have the Tarantula 1505, which essentially is a clone of this but considerably smaller. And it's smaller than most of my other quadcopters. And that's extremely fast. Extremely fast. I got this. I did not anticipate it being quick. I figured it was going to be large, it was going to have good range on it, and it was going to be very slow. That's not the case. This has 3 different speed settings. We're in the 2nd speed setting here, and you can see me taking off with it when I do. It goes. 0 issues with this wind, and this is a very cool design on it too. Just thinking off the top of my head, I'm pretty sure I got this for under $100. I think I actually picked it up on Amazon for, I think maybe like 60 or 70. I'm not certain. It's been a little while since I ordered it. This is available throughout the entire drone marketplace. This is a very well-known quadcopter. It's done well. A lot of people like this quadcopter, so you can pick it up from just about anywhere. Do your shopping. Always shop. If you see something you like, hit eBay, hit Amazon, hit Gears Best, hit Hobbytron, hit your other top sites on the internet, and see who's the cheapest. Make sure to use PayPal. If you use PayPal, you have 0 issues. We're going to go ahead and put this in the 3rd speed setting now, which is the highest speed rate, or your advanced level. And we're going to take it out and see how it does. And look at that. I press forward and you see that nose tip down immediately. That's very responsive. But again, if you're buying off of the internet, use PayPal. Even if the internet says you're covered, you have a 90-day warranty through the internet website, use PayPal. If you use PayPal, you're covered. You're double covered. Website has warranty. PayPal makes sure you get what you ordered. I had one issue with the guy on eBay. I ordered something with the same range as this, and I got something that was used. Wasn't happy about it. And fortunately, I didn't have to get PayPal involved. eBay took care of it. But if eBay didn't take care of it, I would have opened up a dispute with PayPal and got my money back regardless. So be safe when you're buying these things. You don't want to waste $80 to $100 and have something that's broke that you got to try to fix. And we're down again. I was doing flips trying to show you guys how smooth it was flipping over my jabberjong, please excuse me, and I kind of lost orientation, so we landed up over here in the grass. But nothing's broke. This thing's pretty durable. So we're going to be in air again, and we're flying. Right now we're pushing about a 8-minute mark. Very smooth. I mean, if the wind wasn't blowing, that probably wouldn't go much of anywhere, but these flips and barrel rolls are extremely smooth, especially for how large this is. But as I was saying at time, right now about 8.5 minutes, take about maybe 2 minutes for recovery, climbing the tree and walking over and getting this. Pushing about almost 7-minute flight time, which ain't bad. You hit your 8-minute flight time, that's a little above average. That's right around where a good quadcopter should be. So this is doing well. And in wind, so this is not a lackadaisical flight. This is an aggressive flight. I do have to continually compensate for that wind. And I'm also not on the lowest speed setting, so I was in the middle one and then I changed it to the 3rd one. So we're using some juice here on the battery, fighting the wind and also being in high throttle. And you can see how close I'm I was just about to say, you can see how close I'm flying towards these trees. Be careful if you're a beginner. I'm not a beginner. I'd say I'm kind of intermediate flyer, getting close to that pro range. And I'm getting stuck in trees. This tree is a lot different from the last tree I just climbed. It doesn't have thorns on it, very easy to get up, but it's not as sturdy. It's actually bending as I'm climbing it. But I'm not leaving my quadcopter in a tree. Like I said, if you've been watching me for a while, you know I do some pretty crazy things to go after these things. Scale very large declines and climb very high trees. This tree is not too high. I'm trying to shake it to drop it here a little bit. That way I grab it. Any higher, I go much higher. This tree's just going to bend over. Be careful pulling these out of the branches. You don't want to just grab it and rip it towards you. You want to figure out where it's stuck and then kind of lift upwards, kind of like I just did. That way you don't break a propeller or the entire shaft that the propeller is connected to. As you can see, we're back up in the air again. Flips are very smooth. Another thing, if you do get it stuck in a tree, immediately, or if you know it's going in a tree, immediately drop your throttle. You don't want to keep those propellers spinning, because there's a possibility that they will keep spinning and there's not a fail-safe when it hits something, and you could blow out a motor, you could shatter a propeller. You don't want to do that. So anytime you think you're going to crash, you're going to get stuck in a bush, you're going to get stuck in a tree, down throttle as quickly as possible to avoid anything breaking. Again, this is the Tarantula X6. This is about, I'd say, 9/10 of the way of the toy quadcopter stages. So about another 2 stages above this, you're going into intermediate, and then after that I'd consider your Pro Series quadcopters. It's still considered toy grade quadcopter, but it's one of your top of the line ones. You can see buzzing past me trying to show you the speed that this has in wind. And you can see the eyes towards me. I am flying with the controls inverted backwards essentially. Anytime you fly with the front facing you, if you don't have it in headless mode, I don't use headless mode, you have to invert your controls so your left is now right and your right is now left, and your positioning's completely backwards. It's fun to fly that way. It's challenging. If you're just starting out, again, I suggest you be in an open field, because you see, it's not hard crashes, but I'm dropping it in trees and dropping it due to the wind and flying close to trees. And our battery compartment door came off again. If you want to avoid this coming off, if you think you're going to crash or might crash, if you see there's a hole on the top. It comes with a screw sunk in it. If the screw is in there, it's not going to come off. I just choose not to have the screw in it, because once I'm done with this flight, the battery is going to be a little bit warm. That's a hand takeoff. You don't have to start from the ground once you have the gyro calibrated. Once I'm done with this flight, the battery is going to be a little bit warm, and I'm going to take it out of the quadcopter immediately once I get inside and just set it to the side. That way it could cool. If I did want to go out for another flight on the same battery, it's going to take probably an hour and change for the battery to charge. But again, you would take it out of the quadcopter, let it sit and cool before you decide to recharge it. It's just LiPo battery safety, I guess. And the lights are flashing, so we're going to try to bring this in for a catch, which is easier said than done with this wind. I always like to catch it, but let's see what happens here. It's tough. I just had it to the right of me, just had it to the left of me. Let's see if we can get it dead on here. And that's a bad catch. I'm J-Drone. This is the Tarantula X6. Hopefully you enjoyed this. If you haven't subscribed, please do. Have a great day.